On January 19th, 2019, Donald Cerrone defeated Alexander Hernandez by TKO in the second round. I'm playing through a slow-mo of the finishing sequence here. After getting the win here, Cerrone received a tweet from Conor McGregor pretty much just saying, after a fight like that, I'm willing to fight you. So what I'm going to talk about real quick is just how I think the two of those guys match up, whether or not I think that's going to be the next fight for both of them, and how I see things going from there. So here you're just kind of seeing the end where Hernandez is down, just getting pounded in the face. Referee jumps in, fight's over. So the tweet from Conor McGregor says, "For a fight like that, Donald, I'll fight you. Congratulations." Now, it's worth noting from Conor McGregor's standpoint where he's at in his career. He had the win at UFC 205 over Eddie Alvarez, won his second belt at the time, was at that point the featherweight champion and the lightweight champion. After a while of not defending the featherweight belt, that featherweight belt was relinquished. After a while where he didn't defend the lightweight belt, including taking a fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. The lightweight belt was relinquished, but in his first fight back, he had a chance to get that belt back against the guy who had held the belt at the time, being Khabib Nurmagomedov. After a 2-year MMA layoff, Khabib gets the finish in the fourth round by rear naked choke. And at this point, Conor is on a 2 total fight losing streak, in that if you want to count the Floyd Mayweather fight, you have the one boxing fight plus the one fight with Khabib. And he's at a point right now where every fight that he has is heavily publicized. It's not good that he's got a couple losses and he needs a win. So for him, the best case scenario that he can have is give him a fight against a guy whose name is big, who people think of as a high-quality fighter, but who matches up poorly against Conor, so that Conor can beat him and use that win to springboard himself back into the title picture. And it looks like in his case he wants to fight Khabib again. So if we're looking at the lightweights that are out there right now, I'll pull up the rankings. Now, at this moment, Donald Cerrone is not ranked. Among the lightweights, he did have a welterweight ranking, just beat a ranked lightweight. So in all likelihood, he's probably going to be added to the lightweight rankings. It'll be interesting to see where the rankings go from there, because they already have 16 guys in the top 15 with it was Gregor Gillespie, who is number 15, and I also believe Islam Makhachev also is number 15. We'll pull that up right here. Yes, correct. So Makhachev is also 15. So you figure that Gillespie is going to move up after his win. Hernandez is going to move down after his loss. But then the question would be, does Hernandez remain in the top 15? Does Makhachev get pushed down? If so, do Felder or Hooker get pushed down too and knocked out of the top 15? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes from there. But if you look at this top 15, in terms of guys who Conor could fight again, the Poirier fight makes a lot of sense in that it's a fight that Conor's already won. So it's a guy who's at the top of the division right now. If he beats him, then that's a legit contender that he's knocking off. And then you can easily say, okay, he's ready for another title fight. But there's also questions about where's Poirier's game at right now. Poirier's obviously been training a lot harder in MMA than Conor has, with Conor taking some time off to kind of party, to start his whiskey business, to have a boxing-specific camp. So you wonder how the next matchup would play out from there. Iaquinta, I think, would also be a pretty good matchup for him, in that he's a more technical striker than Iaquinta. Iaquinta is a good wrestler. He was a college wrestler. But I don't know that Iaquinta is going to be able to take him down and just beat him up for the entire time. I think that fight would mostly stay on the feet, stay within boxing range, and that Conor would have the advantage there. Kevin Lee would be dangerous in that Kevin could take him down. Barboza would be dangerous in that he's very dangerous on the feet and from kicking range, and that'd be really interesting to fight to see, but there's a real good chance that Barboza could end up landing a huge kick. Now, granted, Barboza doesn't have the best chin, and his boxing isn't exactly the best, so there's a good chance that Conor could come in and just crack him early and put him away really fast, but there's a lot of danger in that fight for Conor. And if you could just keep going down the rankings, the fights kind of mean a little bit less. Now, granted, at number 10, Nate Diaz would obviously be a big fight with the third Diaz fight, but at this point, booking a Diaz to actually get in a fight in the first place is difficult. And then once they had him, obviously with Nick versus Jorge Masvidal, and then Nate versus Dustin Poirier, actually getting them to show up on Fight Night's been a problem lately. So that'd be a tough fight to book. So what I like about the Cerrone fight for Conor McGregor is that Donald Cerrone is a guy whose biggest weakness, or the guys who have given him the most trouble, are guys who have really good boxing. He had a lot of trouble with Jorge Masvidal. The fight against Robbie Lawler, a lot of his difficulties really came in the boxing realm, and that's where Conor shines. So for Conor, his strength is Donald Cerrone's weakness. The question would be is that Cerrone over time has developed his wrestling quite a bit. Very good takedowns. They've gotten a lot better. Obviously, on the ground, he's a legitimate black belt. And not just a good black belt in terms of pure grappling, but also a very good black belt in terms of MMA grappling, be able to mix the strikes. Good at catching submissions. So it'd be interesting to see if he actually shot in on Conor and what would happen if he's able to take him down. It'd also be interesting to see if he worked to use a lot of leg kicks to stifle Conor's movement. But I think all in all, that's a fight where if it happens 10 times, Conor's going to win at least 7 of those times. So with a guy like Cerrone, who's got a big name, who a lot of fans like to see, it seems like a perfect matchup for Conor to get back and have a winnable fight, but still a dangerous fight that he needs to be well prepared for, because if he's not well prepared, he could get caught. And if he gets caught off guard, that'd be a really rough loss for him, to be a 3rd straight combat sports loss, a 2nd straight UFC loss. And from there, if you lose to Cerrone, who in all likelihood isn't going to be in the top 10 of the lightweights after beating the 11th ranked Alexander Hernandez, it's going to push Conor a pretty long way down. And I don't know how long it's going to take for him to get all the way back up again. So I just want to know what you guys, what your take is on the Conor McGregor versus Cowboy Cerrone matchup. If you think it's going to happen, how do you think it's going to go down if it does happen? If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you don't like it, there's another button there for you too.